Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Chiquis and Chill. I hope you all are having a wonderful and very productive day. Today's a very special day, very special episode, you guys, because I have a very special person that is going to be on the pod today. His name is Jorge Ramos, and if you don't know who he is, you guys go watch Univision. He is a journalist, very talented journalist, and an author. He has a new book called Así Veo Las Cosas, so go check it out, you guys. And I'm excited to interview him because he's always the one interviewing other people. People like Fidel Castro, Donald Trump, Hugo Chavez, and so many more, you guys. So I'm excited to introduce Mr. Jorge Ramos. Everyone, round of applause, please. Woo! Jorge, thank you so much for being on. I am so honored, you guys. You have no idea. This is royalty, you guys. I am a huge... para mí lo eres.
We have spoken in the past and we spent a couple of hours getting to know each other. It was a great interview. So, of course, it is my honor.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be in honeymoon, not here.
I know, right? That's what they told me. I know. You know what? Thank goodness I have a lot of work right now. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to work and then we're going to take our honeymoon at the end of the year.
That's great. But I think this is the best example, the perfect example on what happens behind the cameras. No, people think that you have and that we have such a privileged life. And we do in many, many ways. But on the other hand, I think we work hard to have what we have.
Absolutely. To say, you know what, we have to sometimes put certain things first or work first and, pleasure later. And I'm okay with it because I'm like, you know what, we have work. I should be grateful. And that's it. So the good thing is him and I, my husband now, oh my God, that's so weird to say that. My husband now.
Look at that. You're getting used to that.
We're on the same page. But yes, you did come actually to my home. And I'm going to tell you guys here on the podcast, I decided when I moved to this home, I wasn't going to let I just wanted to protect my home a little bit more. But when they told me that Jorge Ramos wanted to interview me, I said, absolutely. He saw my closet. He was here. I was so happy. Yes, it was a beautiful interview. So yes, we have spoken before. And I think that's when, I've seen you on television and I know a lot about you and I admire what you do. But then getting to know you as a human being, it was so wonderful. So that's why, I wanted to talk to you because I know you have a new book out. Y se llama Así Veo Las Cosas. And I want to start off with that. Before we get into like other little details, I know you're short on time. Tell me more about the book.
Well, I've been doing the newscast for more than 30 years in Noticiero Univision. And I have the Sunday morning political show and doing other things, algo personal, which we spend more than an hour talking. But what happens is that when I'm doing the news or when I'm covering a war or when I'm covering a hurricane or an accident, I'm not supposed to cry and I'm not supposed just to give my opinion, but just report the news. I mean, report the news, report reality as it is, not as I wish it would be. But then once everything's done and then you go home or you go to the hotel, there's so many things that you haven't said, how you felt. And then that's what writing is for me. Every week, I've been writing a column every week for more than 30 years. And in those columns, I get to tell my part, what I see, how I feel. For instance, I remember that when I was covering the war in Afghanistan, I did something incredibly stupid. I asked for vacations and I went all the way to Pakistan and then crossed the border to Afghanistan. I had to go to where Osama bin Laden was supposed to be hiding in the mountains of Tora Bora. And I was in a car with 3 members of a guerrilla that were protecting the area. And one of them, I think was 17 and 18-year-old, he pointed his gun at me and he said, I am a follower of Osama. I thought I was going to die, honestly. I had no idea what to do. So I remember having a few $1 bills in my pocket. I gave him the money and I told him, if you take care of me, I'll take care of you. He understood what I meant. And then when we arrived at the hotel, he just pushed me with his gun, with his rifle, as a matter of fact. And then he let me go. So my life at that point was worth only $15. And that's the kind of stories that I'm telling here in the book. It's not something that I was able to tell the people.
Right.
It's not something that I reported on TV because it was not my role just to say, oh, I was about to die. No, the important story was what the war in Afghanistan, and that's it. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, we have very personal stories to tell. I'm sure you have plenty of stories to tell right before and after the concerts.
Yeah. From what I know about you, you're a very private person
Mhm.
with your
Just like
private
you.
life. And it's like, yeah, I mean, más o menos, you know what it is with me is I don't know, but this is not about me. This is about you. But but you know what? I can respect that. I sometimes wish I was a little bit more private. But what I love about this book in particular is that people are going to get to know you,
Yeah.
the person behind, the person that we see on television, which is what I got the honor of meeting you on a different level. And it just really just makes you feel closer to the person, I guess. And I think that that's what I love about this book. And I'm glad you wrote it. I definitely want to read it because I'm that type of person. I want to know, what are they really like? What is his favorite color? What side of the bed does he sleep on? What's his favorite food? You know what I mean? Just things like that. But I think it's amazing. And I congratulate you for this book. How many books have you written?
This is number 14, I think. And yeah, but no,
Oh
Chiquis,
my
but
gosh.
it's like music for you. It is writing for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I have to do. If I don't do it, I would explode internally. I need to do something just to make sure that I can relieve the stress and make sure that I have a completely mentally healthy life. That's
Yes.
important. And that's what writing is for me. I'm sure that's what music is for you.
It's like an outlet. I always say music is like a therapy. So I think writing for you is like, this is my form of releasing.
And just imagine what life would be for you, life without music, for instance. No,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
it's
No, no.
it's impossible. It's simply
Mm-hmm.
impossible.
It
So
is.
one of the stories that I tell in the book, when my father died, I was about 20 years ago. I was about to go on the air to do the newscast, and then I remember my mom calling me and telling me, your dad couldn't make it. And you know what I did? Something incredibly stupid. I I told the news director, I'm fine. I can do the newscast. Let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, Chiquis, she said, no, you're not going to do that. You go home,
Oh.
buy the ticket, go to Mexico City. But I wanted to do the news. I just didn't want to accept reality. No?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when we go through things like this, we react in very rational ways.
Right.
Um, I guess without writing, without being able to express my feelings in a book, in this case on a screen in a computer, it would be very difficult for me to do my job.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And going to that, I was going to ask you, does it feel awkward for you being interviewed because you're so used to interviewing people? Does it feel different?
It is difficult now because here's the power shifting. When
Uh-huh.
when I was asking the questions a few months ago, when I met you, I was in control, right? I'm the one asking the questions, and somehow I can direct the conversation towards whatever I'm interested in. In this case, it's you. You're in control. And something funny happened to me before the interview. I was doing my homework,
Hmm.
just checking the latest social media on you and the video and everything. And I was thinking the opposite way. I was thinking, what am I going to ask Chiquis? And then I realized, no, no, no. You
Yeah.
cannot ask her about the wedding or ask her about la estrella
La
de
estrella de mi
Hollywood, tu
madre.
mamá. No, no, no. You have to behave and then answer the questions. Yeah, so it's a matter of power that somehow asking the question puts you in a position of power. There's an Italian writer, Oriana Fallaci. She died a few years ago, and she used to say that sometimes the interviews become war, and sometimes
Mm,
the interviewer wins, and sometimes the interviewee wins. And I'm sure it happens to you all the time. I'm sure
yeah.
you have had pretty aggressive interviews, and
Oh my
then you
gosh, yes.
come out and you say, "I did it. I answered exactly what I wanted, and I won that
Yes.
interview." And sometimes
Hmm.
you've exactly, and sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you feel vulnerable, and then you say,
Hmm.
"Caray, ¿por qué no dije esto? ¿Por qué? ¿Cómo,
Exacto,
cómo,
yes.
cómo se me fue?" No. So in every
Uh-huh.
interview, it happens. There are questions that you do not ask, and sometimes when you are on the other side, there are answers that you go home and say, "I wish I could have said that."
Absolutely. That happens to me a lot, actually. It
Yeah,
does. It does.
those who win the interviews with me, they're the ones who have a message, and it doesn't matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
They have a message, and they have a complete control of their own narrative. In other words,
Yes.
just what you did with me. You told me your story, and you were in complete control of your narrative. You knew
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you wanted to say. You had a message, and it came across. But if you were not prepared with that message, with that story, your own personal story,
Mm-hmm.
that's the moment when the interviews go wrong.
I agree. And that's what changed for me. If you would have asked me this, I don't know, 10 years ago, in the interviews, I felt very vulnerable. I felt like, oh my gosh, what are they? Very scared. And until I found my purpose and I realized, okay, I have control. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I want to say. I know what I want to share. I know what I don't want to share. It changed
Exactly.
completely for me. And that just happened recently. I think maybe a little bit before you interviewed me, where this newfound, como que perdí el miedo. Dije, ¿sabes qué? Esta soy yo. Take it or leave it. And it just completely changed for me.
And that's so important. Yeah. You have to own your own story.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen stories go completely wrong when the artist or the writer or the journalist or the politician allows others to dictate their story.
Yes.
But when you own your own story, even if it's difficult, because we all have vulnerabilities and we all have weaknesses, and even if it's difficult, but you own your own story, and when you're in control, then that's a completely different story.
No, but I did want to ask you, how did you get into this field? What is it? Is it something since you were young? Is it like, when did this like love or passion grow in you?
I grew up in a house with tres hermanos y una hermana. And many times it was very difficult. No, I remember my friends going on vacation, and we stayed home most of the time. And I don't think, Chiquis, that I traveled on a plane until I was probably 11 or 12. So my world was incredibly limited. Now remember, I'm 66 right now. So I grew up in a Mexico that was not a democracy. It was really authoritarian, very repressive. And I wanted to be a journalist, and I just didn't want to be a censored journalist in Mexico. I remember I had a small car, un bochito, a Volkswagen, and I sold it for just a few $100s. And with that money, I came to the United States as a student, fortunately as a student.
Okay.
I studied for about a year, and then I started working with Univision in Los Angeles, el Canal 34 in Los Angeles. And then when I realized that as a journalist, I didn't have the opportunity, like many actors and actresses, to live many lives through your roles. But I was able, as a journalist, to live one very intense life as a journalist. And that's when I loved it, when I realized that I could get to know the people that changed the world and be in the places where history is being made. Gabriel García Márquez decía que el periodismo es la profesión más hermosa del mundo. And I think he was absolutely right, because I have been able for the last 4 years just to be wherever history is being made and getting to know people that you might like or not, but that are actually making history. So I got to know Hugo Chavez in Venezuela and Nicolás Maduro. I was arrested in the palace in Venezuela just for asking questions.
I remember.
I confronted Donald Trump a few years ago when he said that Mexican immigrants were criminals and rapists. And I wanted to tell him to his face that he was lying, that is not true, that I'm a Mexican immigrant and that we're not like that. So it happened with him. And I've talked to Joe Biden and to other presidents. You don't have to like them, but you get to know them. And that's why I love journalism.
Yeah, no, and you're great. Absolutely amazing at it, because that's one of the things that I admire, that you speak your truth, you speak your mind, you speak with facts, and es algo tan hermoso que he visto, and I'm just like, dude, he has, and I'm not going to say it because it's Jorge Ramos, but you know what I'm talking about.
That.
He has some.
I can imagine.
But yes.
You said something about facts, and nowadays in social media, it's so easy just to get lost, because
oh my gosh,
you use your phone and then you have no idea if what you're reading is the truth or not. And we as journalists, I think we have our strength, our power comes from facts. And I remember, I tell the story in the book, but I went to 5 mañaneras. Now, las mañaneras in Mexico City are the press conferences by the president Andrés Manuel López Obrador. And they call it Las Mañanas simply because he does it at 7 in the morning. Just imagine waking up every day for 5 years just to have a press conference. And I remember going to La Mañanera once with the president of Mexico, López Obrador, and telling him that his government was incredibly violent. More than 170,000 people have been killed for the last 5 years. And I was telling him, these are the facts. He said, no, yo tengo otros datos. I have other facts. He said, no, Mr. President, you cannot have other facts. These facts, I got them from your own government. And still he was telling me, no, I have other facts. And was saying, no, that is not possible.
Señor, no.
No, señor, no es posible. And then he got famous for using that phrase, de tengo otros datos, which is beautiful because when somebody tells you this is the truth and you say, no, yo tengo otros datos, there's really nothing nothing you can do.
And well, talking about datos and facts, I have a question, a little bit of a personal question.
Okay.
And it is something that you've talked about, but I kind of want to know a little bit. What exactly does agnostic mean? Because I know what atheists mean, but what is agnostic?
I'm glad that you asked me about that. I grew up in a Catholic family, in a Catholic country, and I went to Catholic school when I was very young, for elementary school and for middle school. But then the priests in this school, they were really abusive with us, physically abusive. They would hit us in the hands, they would hit us in the body, and they would instill this fear of hell constantly. I mean, if we were to sin or lie or misbehave, they would tell us, children, you're going to go to hell. So I grew up with this really horrible idea about religion and what religion meant.
Okay.
And so what happened is that since I was very, very young, I was very disillusioned with official religion, and I lost my faith. I lost my faith, Chiquis. I'm sure you believe that when you die, you might go to heaven and meet again all the people that you lost and that we lost. But I don't have that confidence. I don't have that trust that it is going to happen. So I'm not atheist. In other words, I cannot say that God doesn't exist, but I'm agnostic, which means that I don't know.
Okay.
It is simply the lack of knowledge. And it would be beautiful for me to believe that something's going to happen after I die and that I'm going to meet my brother that I lost about a year ago and my dad, in mi gata Lola, in mi perro Sunset, and that life is going to be eternal and beautiful. But I don't have that trust. I don't have that faith. No? What do you believe? When you die, what happens?
I have a similar story to you. I respect all religions, but for me, organized religion isn't my cup of tea. It's not for me because I was raised in a very Christian home and went to church Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. So I was in church a lot. And a lot of things happened in that church que me desilusionó. And I was just very decepcionada. And it just changed for me. But I do believe in a higher power. I believe in there's something bigger and greater than I am. So I bow to it. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a female energy or male energy. I just know it's something more. So I consider myself a woman of faith, más de spiritual. So te entiendo de eso de religión. And I get that. But, I wanted to ask because I really did not know.
But that's beautiful. You have to have faith. I wish I could have your faith. I mean, I honestly wish I could wake up and believe that things happen for a reason, that there's a superior power, and that he or she is directing our lives in certain ways, that there's a destiny. But I simply don't believe in that.
You don't.
So I have to use my own facts and be true to myself. When I've been doing these readings all around the country in Mexico, and I always say, thank you so much for trying to save my soul. There's this collective effort to save my soul. And I really appreciate it when people pray for you. It's incredibly powerful. And I
absolutely
really, really appreciate it. But
and I respect that.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, no. I think it's beautiful that you're honest, that you are, this is who I am, and I respect it. You know what I mean? And I get it because you're a very man of facts, and it's kind of like see it to believe it sort of thing, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know, pero igual,
So
I
that's the
think you're
difference
wonderful.
between being atheist and agnostic. Atheists, they can tell you, no, God does not exist. I'm not there. I cannot say that. I'm just simply telling you, I don't know.
So now that I'm married, Mr. Jorge Ramos.
Okay, just congratulations.
Gracias. You have been married for how long?
How long I've been with Chiqui.
With Chiqui, who I love. She's so beautiful, you guys. If you don't know who Chiqui Delgado is, she's amazing, not only physically, pero de corazón. Es tan linda. Every time I've seen her, she's been so sweet. So,
and it's funny because some people call her Chiquis, no?
Yeah. And they call me Chiqui sometimes.
Yeah, it's Maria Chiquinquirá Delgado. We've been together for 14 years now. And something beautiful that happened is that when I met her, I already had Nicolas, who's 26, and Paula, who's 37 already. And Chiqui has Maria Elena and Carlota, who's 14 right now. So what we did was this incredible experiment of bringing together two different families. And that has been the most beautiful experience of my whole life. And now, because Carlota, she's 14, I'm a Swiftie, of course. And we've been twice to see Taylor Swift, and she's coming to Miami in a couple of months. So I'm gonna be there dancing again.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm a Swiftie too, by the way.
Yeah, I think she's just fantastic. I mean, I'm sure you've seen concerts all over the world, but I think she has the most powerful, most complete show in the world at this moment. I mean, I haven't seen artists 3 hours and a half constantly without stopping.
I agree. She's a powerful force for sure.
Well, anyway, I was talking about Taylor Swift, but I'm also un tiburón. I'm a follower of Bad Bunny.
Oh and my gosh, I love this.
All his songs. I know Neverita and
this is so cool.
Where She Goes. Yo no me quiero casar. And all those things, simply because Carlota is also a follower of Bad Bunny. I saw Bad Bunny in Mexico City. ¿Has ido al Estadio Azteca, Chiquis?
I have not. Todavía no.
Well, el Estadio Azteca is incredible. Of course, It's for soccer. But I saw Bad Bunny here in Miami too, but I saw him in front of 80,000 people in El Estadio Azteca, and it is impressive what he does.
Yes.
How he controls the audience.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know what it is to sing to tens of thousands of people. I have no idea how it feels.
Yeah.
But when you see it, it is incredible.
It is
amazing. And I'm amazed not only with his talent, but with his pauses, the silences during his concerts. Taylor Swift is a continuous show, but then Bad Bunny stops, he puts a towel in his head, and then I don't know what happens. He goes into meditation. He truly stops the concert for 2 or 3 minutes, and then he's back. Those silences,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, those silences are incredible. I saw him in Miami, stopping, breathing. I do yoga, so I sort of know about the breathing process. And he stops and he starts breathing as if he's just making sure that he realizes what's happening all around him.
Being present, maybe.
And you do your own thing too. I mean, you have your own rituals. When you get nervous, I mean, first, do you get nervous when you sing in front of thousands of people?
When it's not my audience, cuando es un festival, I get more nervous. When it's my concert and I know people paid to see me, I feel a little bit more confident, but the nerves are always there. It's when I've gone to in Mexico and it's just un festival grande and I'm like, oh my gosh, I get even more nervous. But then after 30 seconds, it goes away.
Interesting. So 30 seconds and it goes away. Yeah, when I have important interviews with presidents or when you have to participate in a debate with political candidates and so on, the first question is the difficult for me. And once I get through the first question that I practice 1,000 times, then it feels a little better. No?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think nerves are good because we're passionate about what we're doing. That's how I see it personally. But I love to know that you have great taste. You're a Swiftie and you're a Bad Bunny. I love it. Now, what's your favorite color? Now that we're talking about these things, what do you have a favorite color?
I always wear blue.
Okay. Yes.
for some reason, I mean, if you see thank you so much for allowing me to get into your closet. I saw mine is so boring because it's just like the same way you're seeing me right now with a blue jacket and dark blue jacket and a blue shirt. That's how it is. And the beauty about it, I understand that Mark Zuckerberg and Barack Obama and others, they do the same. They basically don't change how they dress. That way you can spend time thinking about other things. So
yes.
So I like that. You cannot do that, right?
I love stuff. That's the thing. As you saw in my closet, I just love stuff. Y me gusta cambiarme y toda la cosa.
But are you worried that if you repeat something that you wore for one concert that people are going to complain or are going to say, oh, she used it?
Yes, a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I do feel sometimes that I don't like to wear things twice on television. I'll wear it in real life. But for television, I'm like, okay, I'll just change it up and then I donate. I love donating my clothes. Pero I learned. Now I'm starting to rent stuff because I'm like, that's just un tiradero de dinero, So now I rent it.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I know I have only a few more minutes with you, but I just wanted to say thank you. I know you're a very busy man. And if you could just give me a bit of advice on marriage, like what's the secret? Just a little one, just something small.
No, I don't think I'm the one. I'm not the right person for that. But I really wish you mucha felicidad.
Muchas gracias.
You know something, as I told you, I was doing my homework before doing the interview with you. And I just love todas las señales de gratitud y de felicidad que te enviaron por la boda, ¿no? People
it was so beautiful.
So happy for you.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is that you did it in your own terms. No? Mm-hmm. You did it exactly as you wanted.
Thank you.
And that's so beautiful.
Thank you so much, Jorge.
That's so beautiful.
I appreciate it. I did get a lot of love and it was just very peaceful and very intimate and I appreciate that. So
check your smile.
Mande?
Check your smile in the pictures.
Oh, yes.
I'm not sure if you have it. It's the perfect smile. It's someone who's at peace and in love. And that's what you want, right?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. That means a lot to me.
That's it. You don't need anything else.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, Jorge. And I appreciate you guys, everyone that's listening. Please go out, lean el libro. Mucha gente aquí yo sé que habla en español. Así que se llama el libro Así Veo Las Cosas del señor Jorge Ramos, you guys. And anyways, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I definitely did. It was nice to hear from you, Jorge, on a different level. And again, thank you so much for being on my podcast. I really appreciate it.
Gracias, señora Chiquis.
Gracias. Un besote. Qué lindo. Muchas gracias.
Bye.
Adiós.
Thank you
Bye. Do you need advice on love, relationships, health, y más? I'm so excited to share with you that my Chiquis and Chill podcast will have an extra episode drop each week. I'll be answering all your questions. Just leave me a voice message con todas tus preguntas y yo te las voy a contestar personalmente. All you have to do is go to speakpipe.com/Chiquis and Chill podcast and record your questions. I can't wait to hear from you. This is a production of iHeartRadio and the My Cultura Podcast Network. Follow us on Instagram at My Cultura Podcast and follow me, Chiquis, that's CHIQUIS. For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.